Hey everyone, Patrick Neiman from Rickley's Aquatics. Today I'm going to take you through what I've got going on in my dining room, kitchen, fish setup here, and show you all the different species that I'm keeping, what I'm growing out, and talk a little bit about the individual fish, and talk about what kind of filtration I run, a little bit about this, a little bit of that, about that. Yeah. So, if you are a subscriber or you've been following for a while, I'd appreciate it. If you could give me a subscribe or follow, that'd be amazing. Like the videos, share. Hoping to actually start doing this more and more and get better and better as time goes. So, yeah. Hopefully it's only up from here. Up with more fish, up with more interactions with people, and trying to help them understand a lot of what's going on with what I'm doing and how to keep fish of all types. I keep a lot of different types. And first up, I'm going to show my mostly South American tank. There's a few Africans that got snuck in here. It's a 250 gallon peninsula tank from what I was told was SeaWorld. I'm not 100% sure. And then I made the stick and stump structure myself and got it all secured up to hold a 30 gallon upside down. The lighting is these right here, internal lights, other side too. And then I've got a LED grow light up top. I keep it all the way down. It's really bright. And then underneath is two 750 gallon Sun canisters. I'm going to switch some lights off so I can get some better shots of just the tank. Alright, much better. So these two Severums seem to be a pair for me, and they keep trying to lay eggs and breed, so I left them in here and I didn't put them in the pond. The two sharks are about ready to go to the pond. They were a rescue. They're kind of derpy, and I'm a little afraid of what's going to happen in the pond with them because they might cause trouble for themselves that they can't get out of, so that's kind of precautionary going into that. I say partly or mostly South American because there's some of these topas in here, I believe. You can see a couple of them are still starry looking. Got some parrots and a foot cleaner goby. Or a rufagara. There's a male and a female red frontosa in here. Got some fire mouths, 4 of them I believe. There's the female. 2 jewels are in here from my original 6 from my breeding group. I'm waiting for a baby to grow out so I can cross them back. Some bala sharks that aren't big enough for the pond yet. Some feather thin catfish. Some porthole cats or hoplo cats. 1 male carbensis. There's several whiptail cats in here. There's still 3 dragon gobies. Put 1 in the pond. This seems to be doing well. Lots of angels. Lots of plecos. There's a pair of gold gourami and a pair of blue gourami. I even wanted to go really realistic with this tank and put human trash in there just because we seem to be everywhere in the world and it's only fitting to be in the tank. The foot cleaner goby likes to sit out proud. Green phantom pleco right there in the center, along with one of the male bristle noses. Jewel cichlid poking out. There's a school of those pectoral cats in here. Another whiptail right in the center. Front toes is coming out. Little fire mouth growing out. Another male bristlenose poking out. They're all expecting food. They haven't been fed yet tonight. Yeah, I guess I automatically think everybody assumes what the upside downs are. The upside down is an upside down tank, and it holds vacuum pressure because the tank surface is underneath. And yeah, the only reason why there's air up here right now is because I did a little bit too big of a water change and it went below there and some air sucked up, and I just haven't sucked the air back down. It's not really bothering anybody. It's not bothering me. It's not glugging down. Alright, next set of tanks. Over here I've got two 60-gallon breeders. The top one is set up with a breeding pair of piranha, red bellies. I got them in as a rescue. They seem to be making a nest in this corner together, judging by how it's all bowl-shaped right there. There's a couple jewel cichlids. They were in here for a while. They buried themselves in those rocks as little wigglers, and they're starting to grow up and get bigger now. They might end up getting chomped on. It's just the game that they play. I think there's one hiding right there. The only way I could have gotten them all out, but I have had over 400 of them at one point. It's like this Oscar tank right here for the breeding pair of orange Oscars. This was holding jewels, and there's a lot of jewels still in here because they're just so hard to catch up. Even as a bare tank, they would just dart around the net. So I decided to let them grow up a little bit where they're a little bit harder, because they were really small like that guy. They're starting to grow now. The Oscars have dug the hole right there. I did give them this big old piece of glass to lay in, but they don't seem bothered by that. They want to be in this corner right here. One Oscar I got myself, which is this one right here. Peaches raised it for me since it was like 2 inches long, and it's a female. And then the male Oscar I traded some fish around for, and they paired up almost instantly. '60 breeder's a little tight, but they're not fully grown yet. I'm surprised they don't have eggs, honestly. But it'll come with maturity. They're not fully grown yet. They're also looking for food. But yeah. Alright. I was just about to start showing this. but I'm prone to turning back around. I wanted to show a little bit more of this violet or dragon goby. I really like them. They're supposed to turn brackish water at some point in their life, and I'm prepared to do a molly and them guys. They're mostly blind. They've got tiny little guys. But they're big. The one I put in the pond is probably almost 16, 17 inches. This one's probably pushing 15 inches. Alright, not really going to talk about the glow tank. It's just glowfish, and I took all the decor out because they started getting sick and I needed to get some gravel out and whatnot, so they're just doing their thing. Here I've got a bunch of 10 gallons set up with a 55 and a 90 gallon in the center. Got a 20 long up there for now. That's going to move and be 10 gallons eventually. Right in the center I've got some fancy goldfish and 2 comets and some black moors. The volcano's hollow, they can go inside of it. The bone and the sword go inside. Bunch of pothos growing out the top. Some rosy minnows. There's one in Buna that snuck in here. It's about sizable. I can get it out now. Algae eater. I heat my whole place, so the tank's sitting at about 78 degrees along with all of them. They're all about 78 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees, 4 degrees, 5 degrees, somewhere in there. They're stable. Right below it I've got my African grow out tank. Usually I've got more jars in it, but I've been catching out quite a few fish lately. There's Aratus, there's electric blue Johanny, there's mangoes, there's jewel cichlids, red zebras, or red mbuna. It's actually a nice active tank. You can see the male Aratus versus the females quite clearly now. And start around the corner here. I've got a bunch of peacocks that I'm growing out because I've got some males that are sizable and they need females. I'm hoping there's some more females in here. And then down here I've got a flower horn, little baby that just came in yesterday. It was already getting picked on in the other tank. You'll see in a minute here. So it's over here, growing out already. This is from the last batch. I get all my flower horn from the tilapia store currently, and they always grow up really well. This is a beautiful female. She's quite personable. She can come around. She'll come around for my finger. Come on, girl. You know you want to show off. Scaredy. Down here, I got 3 Vajas, Veja. I don't know how to pronounce all these names, so I'm sorry. They're just a gorgeous fish. They're already starting to get their coloration going. The other 2 are back inside there. I'm not going to go in there and really bug them for it. Down here I got a black nasty growing out with what I believe to be another black nasty that's a little bit bigger. Once I get more sizable, I'll be able to sex them better. I've got a Texan down here. super red. Up here I've got a gold base flower horn from my latest batch of flower horn. Looks to be a gold base. It's already getting picked on. I've got them growing out in there for right now until I can get them all separated out in here. Then I got this guy right here. He already tried to fertilize some eggs with a female. I don't know why he's so dirty looking and beat up looking. I don't know if that's how, yeah. He's always getting himself into some sort of snags. Beautiful nonetheless. Some of them got fed just because I'm helping grow them out. So this is from a previous shipment. This little male right here is doing great. He's probably about 2 inches now. Really starting to grow his cock in. And coming back this way, got a different species of Vaj in here, Vieja. And down here I've got a couple black nasties, and I believe there's I've got a black nasty in here, and I think a jaguar growing out together. And then down here I've got 4 Jack Dempseys growing out. All these fish are really aggressive, so I have to pay attention and separate them out as need be. Like this guy up here and whatnot. But yeah, that's that whole rack right there. Alright, I know that's sneaking in there, so I'll just talk about it right off the bat. 450 gallon 16-foot plywood tank that ended up failing on me. Not going to talk more about it. Figure out how to fix it later. 12 tank rack right here, 2, 4, 6, 8, something, I don't know, maybe not 12, but anyway. Eventually there's going to be 240 breeders up top, and that 20 long is going to be replaced by another 29 gallon. And the bottom tank got busted, not sure how. So what I've got on here, we'll go from across the top first. In here, ooh, they're tucked way in the back corner. You can just barely see any fins. I've got gold clavixes, breeding trio in here. And then up top here, I've got polar parrots breeding. Parents are back there right now. These are just the babies. There's even little baby wigglers back there. The parents probably have more. Yeah. There's mom. She's in breeding color right now. So she probably has eggs stashed back there again. Everything here from little wigglers all the way up to medium sized. Some guppy grass. I guess I'm not really going through the filtration system, but a lot of this is ran off sponge filters. The whole 10 racks off sponge filters. The 60 breeders are off that. The 55 gallon grow out for the Mbuna is off of one canister, a 307 Fluval. And then the goldfish have 2 about 600 gallon per hour canisters on them. This one right here's got a Starry Night growing out. This one right here's got another flower horn from that one batch that I've got 3 of them right now. Slower developing male, but he's got some beautiful characteristics in color. The only thing I don't care for is that his pectoral or anal fin or whatever you want to call it right there has a bump in it, but still going to be a good quality fish. Over here I've got 2 Bulgarian rams right now. They're both females. The male seems to have disappeared. Not quite sure what happened with him. I was hoping to get them breeding, but I'll find another male eventually. Coming down to a 40 breeder. Got my breeding pair of electric blue Acara. And they're on some fry right now. I also found 2 baby rhino plecos at the store the other day. One's right there. Probably find the other one in a second. Pictus cat and a Chinese algae eater for the cleanup crew. They can take a little bit of abuse like the mom's trying to dish out right now. I like the rhino plecos. They get to a medium size. Over here I've got the flower horn that I just picked up. I'm watching and observing them already and taking the ones that are on the lowest part of the totem pole out and separating them out while I get some of these 10-gallon fish moved around. Always setting up new tanks to get them moved around too, but these guys all seem to be getting along fine. The ones that were lowest on the pecking order have been sorted out now. This one right here is already starting to show a hump on him. These tanks, these 40 breeders had some organic soil in them, so they've got a lot of rubbish in them and stuff that's surfaced up over time. I don't really do too many planted tanks anymore, so I should get back into it some. I'm always having a demand for plants, but fish are just my love. They've got the personality. Even at this small of an age, they're just like, oh, you're a food man. And coming over to this, I've got a bunch of my turquoise jewel fry. A lot of them. Hundreds of turquoise jewel fry. They're a little too small to sell yet. A 55-gallon grow out right over there is going to end up going to the donut next for their next stage of growth. Some of these guys can go to the 55-gallon to get bigger again. Down here, oh, I must have startled them. There's 2 starry nights and a couple other stragglers that work their way in. Nothing too fancy, just growing fish out in it. Then over here, I've got 10 more black nasties. They seem to be doing really good. They're not as aggressive towards each other as the flower horn as far as I can tell right now, but ready to separate them as needed. They're another aggressive species and just got to keep your mind out about them because they can tear into each other at any point. There's a Pictus cat in there too. Garage shop lights, everything's pretty much ran off these garage shop lights, the LED strips. Everything out here does tie into my auto fill-up system. Goes down, around, and back to the fish room over that way. But yeah, that's that rack. And I'll finish up with a pond. Last but not least is definitely the pond. Before I do that, Seeing it out of the corner of my eye, I'll show you guys my fish cart that I've got going on here. Hooks for my nets on the ends, salt in the bottom, various meds, extra wafers, scissors, food. I use pond food now, so these are just containers. And yeah, this little thing's on wheels and it just spins right around. I got a magnet cleaner, all the fish essentials. It's great, especially when you're moving it around a lot. I don't want to set everything on the counter like I used to. It was a pain. So this pond, you can see all the pots back there. It actually takes up a lot of the scape, but it's actually part of the filtration system also. What it is at the bottom of that tube is a 2,800 gallon per hour pump into an 1.25 inch. Put my hand here for size reference. 3 fingers, 4 fingers wide. And I've got a bunch of bricks in there, ceramic bricks, and about 4 or 5 bags of volcanic rock on top of all that. So that pump's buried in there. But it shouldn't ever have to be touched. I don't anticipate ever having to clean this media out itself. It's going to filter very well without me having to touch it. And it's got 4 big sponge filters around it. And it all comes back out to this canister in there, and then up and back around. Mess. It's a 300-gallon Rubbermaid tub. My friend Sky Yonker makes up the plexiglass front. As far as stocking, I'm not 100% sure on numbers. I don't do really fish counts too often. There's like 8 or 10 bala sharks in there that are sizable. Some male giraffe haps. They're all hungry right now. Female flower horn right there. Various sort of ambuna, OB, Taiwanese reef, eye biter, Kenny eyes, Haratus. I might be naming some of them wrong, so I gotta be careful. I don't want the fishy police after me. But they're all hungry right now. They're anticipating food. Bigger severums ended up in here. Ooh, Jack Dempsey pair. And then I'm starting to try to grow some pond plants, because on top of that I've got a grow light. Ooh, big pleco. To keep that growing. Because I'm hoping to bring pond plants in over the winter and keep them growing that are perennials. Albino sailfin. She's a gold-based fader, so she's gonna have random black blotches show up on her. I could sit here and watch this tank for hours. It's cool because like the severum back there is just chilling inside the jar with a jewel underneath it. Oh, showing off, are you? Around the whole outside edge is a catch guard, so the only spot that can jump off is this front part, but I've been keeping it fairly low until I can figure out how I want to block them from jumping over this edge. They splash a lot. These guys are needy. I had to wipe up the floor because they had water outside of the tank, and it's down a good 3 inches right now, and they still had water outside the tank. They can't skip a meal for some reason. I could watch this for hours, so I'm gonna cut it off right there. I'm sure there'll be more videos coming up of everything that's going on. Thanks for watching. Please give me a subscribe if you made it to the end here. And yeah, I much appreciate everybody that's been following me and encouraging my growth and everything throughout all of this. It's been fun. There we go. These guys are, oh, they're hiding again. I tried. She likes her jar. And bloopers for you guys. Cheers.